Well, at least it's not. At least it's not so old that it doesn't have Paul's
I know.
logo on it.
I know.
I was
glad
I
at
was
least
watching.
Paul was in there.
I was
I'm like, I
watching.
knew he was in there.
I kind of was watching for it too, and then when it showed up, I went.
If it had been like Spooky or Trinity, I would have been like, oh dear, here we go. So, guys, welcome back. This is another RetroRoots. You'll notice we have someone absent. MrMatthews is not here tonight. He's having some technical difficulties and some filming work and stuff like that he really wants to get done. So he bowed out tonight.
Yeah. In other words, he doesn't want to be on with us tonight. That's
fine.
fine. That's fine, Rob. That's fine, Rob.
I often don't want to be on with me either. So, there's that.
Oh, I thought for a minute, I thought you were going to I was waiting for it. You missed the opportunity to say that I didn't want to be on with you either, Mike.
Well, I can always fire you, Mike.
This is true. This is true. You can.
So what you're saying is this is my audition show. All right.
It is. Here we go. Let's do it. Wow,
Oh,
I'm sorry. So as you can see, we have a guest. This is Cerebral Paul. He is another member of the Gamers United Guild. I'm going to go ahead and post his link for each one of you guys. It will be both his Twitter link and his YouTube link. So you guys can check him out. He streams a lot and does a lot of both modern and retro content. And he does both Twitch and YouTube. So the best way to find out what he's doing when is to probably follow him on Twitter, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And that way you can find out what's going on. But I will let the man speak for himself and introduce his channel, what he does and what he likes doing and everything. Take it away, Paul.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. I understand I was your 355th choice. You had to put it on the list. But everybody said no because they didn't want to be with Mike. I don't know.
Damn.
It's a common problem. It really is.
Damn. Well, I am the community-hated guy.
That's right. He's a rabble rouser.
Rabble.
Especially lately for reasons we're not going to get into on this one. Hi, Carla.
Carla!
Jim!
Hey, Jim.
I always have to say Jim's name like that. It's a thing between me and Jim.
I said Carla.
So yes, the best thing to do is follow me on Twitter. Some of you may know I am an Xbox Ambassador Community Champion. I have a show on their channel as well every Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific, or 1 p.m. Eastern. Catch me there. It's Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul, where I just play whatever game I'm in the mind of, but I focus on the accessibility of the game. Just like I know it's not a retro game, but Plague's Tale is coming out in about an hour and a half, and if I wasn't here, I'd be playing it then. Unless
you are Peter and you are in New Zealand, and you get it early.
Yeah, there you go. I did not do that. I never do that. But it has accessibility, so that's going to be my focus on my streams. Is I'm going to talk about accessibility. If anybody's wondering about the name and such, I do have cerebral palsy. I am physically disabled. My hands don't work as nice as everybody else's, and the fun part is my real first name is Paul, so it works out. So there you go.
Absolutely.
And you could tell them that is your wheelchair. That is your real wheelchair.
Yeah, yes, that is my real wheelchair.
I would be jealous if somebody had a wheelchair that went that fast. I'd be like, oh man.
So that's it about me. And
my fan club is here.
Hey, I stand with nobody. I stand with nobody and for nobody. Okay, that's just the way that works.
There you go.
That's all right. We love you anyway, Paul.
Oh, there's Rhea. Hey, Rhea.
There's Rhea.
Sorry, I'm trying to say hi to people as we introduced everybody.
Well, you got
again. It was kind of a special introduction because Paul's kind of new. Paul's new to the channel. I don't think I've had you on any streams before.
I don't think so. No.
We bumped into each other a couple times, but we haven't really mingled too deeply in circles. And that's part of what I wanted to do since we had an opening tonight was to kind of have more people from the GOG on, so we can kind of just get to know each other, hang out a little bit, and maybe mingle crowds a little bit here and there, and everybody can kind of get to know each other.
I'm
Right.
impressed because I know you've seen me on Mike's show and you still had me on. So,
Despite my best effort to tell him otherwise.
Well, again, you were the 452nd choice.
Yeah.
So that number will go up as the stream goes up.
So you're not gonna put up Mazin's comment? I mean, come on.
What? Which comment did I miss?
The one right.
Oh, hold on.
No, not that one. The one above it.
Oh, there's one above that. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta flex a little now for him.
Oh Lord, he's gonna want you shirtless. He's gonna want you shirtless for it. You know that. Right?
That's $50, man.
That's on Mike's OnlyFans, yes.
That's right. And in my case, it's an only fan because that's
Yeah,
all
that's
I
right.
would get.
Yeah, it's like the one fan.
Right. No,
And you might have to pay to get that fan.
Yeah.
I might look better than I did a year ago, but I'm still 49. So let's call it what it is.
Lowered expectations.
I used to love that bit. I used to love that bit.
Yes, Mazin said he'll give me 200 and do it if I do it 4 times. All right, Mazin, I'll tell you what, man, I'll give you a little of this. How's that?
Oh no, here we go.
Little of gun show. There you
He's
go. How's
gonna be incorrigible the rest of the stream. Not that he isn't usually, but what's up, Born? How you doing, man? Good luck with keeping the drama out. Yeah, it won't happen. So emotional damage.
Yeah.
Emotional damage. I love that clip. I love you, Carla. My sister, Carla. These are my people. This is where I feel. This show is where I feel safe. This is my safe space right here.
You are one
Luke
damaged
is
person.
in the chat too. So we're going to kind of go around. Paul, we're going to go ahead and start with you. What all did you do this weekend, and what all have you been up to?
I do nothing all weekend, but
That sounds brilliant. But okay.
no, this weekend because let's see, aside from some new games coming out that weren't retro, so we'll leave that there. But I'm a big movie guy as well, so I've been
Awesome.
through the month. I've been watching a lot of horror
Nice.
movies, but I watched Halloween Ends on Thursday as soon as it dropped.
How was that?
I enjoyed it. A lot of people
I
liked
heard
it.
bad things about it, and I don't know. I never got huge into the Halloween series. The most I knew about it is because I did a video on it recently.
So
I
let
kind
me
of went
say
through
this.
the backstory then.
Yeah, let me. I can kind of explain what they were going for. I think they haven't responded, but I think it's much like the first movie. There's not There's a lot less killing than there were in the previous couple.
Okay.
It's more focused on the story of how Haddonfield was affected by Michael and how the town has learned to deal with the specter of Michael and Lori still living in the town and all that. Michael's still there, and well, at least till the end. But it's a different kind of story. It kind of wraps everything up in a somewhat bow. Don't expect another slasher fest like Halloween Kills. I thought it was good. I thought it was very good for what it was trying to do. Yeah.
Is Die Hard considered a Halloween game? I always classify it as Christmas personally, but
I think you're missing the joke.
No, that's the Die Hard a Christmas movie, and the answer is officially yes. Okay. So is Lethal Weapon.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yes.
Lethal Weapon is not a Christmas movie.
It absolutely is.
It takes place around Christmas.
Tree lot. The first scene is in a Christmas
Very
tree
first
lot.
scene is Christmas tree lot. I'm going to give him that one.
And there's the Christmas music opens the movie.
Lot, Paul.
What?
Might be a Hanukkah bush lot, Paul.
Sonic CD
Sonic
Halloween game.
Yeah.
It's pretty terrifying depending on who you talk to.
Sonic CD is a Passover game.
Like in the movie Striptease, it's the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's
Paste! Paste is in the
What's
house.
up, Pace? Good to see you, man.
Paste.
Hello Kitty World is a Halloween game. Depending on your point of view, absolutely. Home Alone Alone is a
Alone
Hanukkah movie.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Brother Luke. I'll take anything I can get at this point.
Oh no, Mike, what have you been into, man?
Do you really want me to tell you? You don't
Well,
really.
okay.
Okay, let's
Within
get the,
reason,
get
because
the mods ready.
you know,
Get
I'm actually surprised that they're not stalking this stream because they know you're on here.
But this is, we're not. No. Okay. So what I really actually did most of this weekend was musical. So Friday night. So was this past week was the Jewish holiday of Sukkot. It's one of the final 2 Jewish holidays of kind of this season: Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchat Torah, where we kind of go to the end of the Bible, the Old Testament, and then start over again. So Friday night was at Temple celebrating Sukkot. Saturday night, spent with my old big band I used to play with in the 2000s. And I had retired from there when my kids started to get a little older and I couldn't do the every week gigging, but they've kind of brought me back into the rotation as a sub keyboard player. But when I'm not subbing to play keyboards, I'm kind of helping be, helping in the vocalist section. So we did a wedding on Saturday night. It was fantastic. Got out there. I posted a picture on Twitter. I got out and got my, got some piano playing and some singing in. Sunday, same thing, Sunday school. And then, I don't know, maybe spent Sunday afternoon
doing a thing.
Doing the thing with the thing that you can't talk much about the thing.
Doing the thing with the thing.
Other than it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, and I just don't want to derail this.
And there might be a video on your channel about said thing if people are curious about that thing.
There might be a video on there that kind of shows the thing a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, everybody knows I'm
them pay.
I am play testing the Intellivision Amigo. Everybody knows that by now. And I did spend Sunday and yesterday doing some testing on it, getting Seth. Yesterday was getting Seth running on it. And actually this evening, my 8-year-old was like just on me from the minute he got home from school. Dad, can we play? Dad, can we? So we played, did some play testing with him, with the controller and all that stuff, and seeing how he would, so that's what I've been doing, a mix of music and gaming. Yeah. And I downloaded Scorn. So I wanted to actually start playing Scorn.
I need to download that and try that. It's one of those I'm kind of curious about. I love the art style when I first saw it. It sounds like it's vastly different than what I actually thought it was going to be, but that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It'll be one of those, I'll try it and see if maybe it grabs me.
If you want to see it a little bit, I did stream it for a couple hours the other night. So if you go to my channel, there you go. I'm plugging myself. You can actually...
Dude, plug away. Absolutely. It's no problem
you can actually see me play it a little bit, at least the first section. And watch how frustrated I got with the first puzzle. So,
I can see that. Puzzle games are like that. You either figure it out within like 30, 40 minutes, you're going, damn it, is there a guide for this? This is getting really frustrating.
Well, and then because I'm streaming, I got somebody in my chat, and there's a stream delay. So I'll be moving around. He'll go, no, go here, move that one. And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, oh, God, yeah. Twitch is so much better for stream delay, man. It's so much less. Oh, my God.
So yeah.
So DJ says we'll be talking Splatterhouse and TurboGrafx, as well as Sega and a 360. Also, is Pac-Man an option because it has ghosts?
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Oh.
I was gonna say Luke mentioned the wedding singer, which when Mike was telling us what he did the other night was where I went. So you're a wedding singer, like what's his name?
I mean, the suit almost fit with the theme of the wedding singer.
Who also happens
but he wore the blue.
Who also happens to be Jewish, by the way. Yeah.
Right. It was my
Atari Gremlins. That's actually not a bad
not a good one. So, Chris, brother Chris.
So Game Pass on Amico is working good, Mike.
I can't say. No.
You know what? I bet if it were up to Microsoft, it'd probably be on there at some point.
Probably
because they just don't care.
They want it everywhere. Did you see? I'm sorry, I know this is RetroRoots, but did you see where they basically said, Sony's the one who doesn't want Game Pass on the PlayStation.
That's right.
And not us,
Right.
you know. So,
I figured they would put it everywhere, man. If they could get it on the Switch and the PlayStation, they would. They just don't care.
I will make a
They
prediction.
literally don't care.
I will make a prediction. This is a bold, hot take that will get thousands of response videos. Ready? Sometime in 2023, Microsoft and Nintendo will work that out.
Mm-hmm.
You will
I have
see.
the same thought.
You will see Game Pass on the Switch in sometime, if not in 2023, you'll see it announced in 2023.
I can see that. Matter of fact, I think I've seen Monster, Zombie mentioned Monster Product, and I think I've seen this one a couple times, along with a little, I think it's Pocket Monsters, also on the NES. And these are ones I haven't gotten to, but I need to make a list for maybe like next year and try some of these because they sound pretty fantastic. Game Pass on Tesla.
Oh, you know that's going to be there. I mean, to be fair,
Atari 2600.
To be fair, the Game Pass app is on my Atari VCS. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's been long enough for Splatterhouse that them taking another swing at it or doing a compilation is not a bad idea.
I wouldn't want a compilation.
I'm not the hugest Splatterhouse fan. I need to give it another go. I've given it a couple tries, and I get to a certain point on the first one where you're fighting this like maniac with like a chainsaw, pumpkin head or something like that, and I just can't close in on him after I use the shotgun to finish him off, and I just struggle with it constantly and just put it down.
But it would have to be a 2D Splatterhouse, like in that modern 2D kind of.
A lot of people like the 360 one though. That one was pretty popular.
I know, but I wasn't as much a fan of that one. Maybe because I grew up. I mean, in the Genesis era, you know, that was one of my favorite of the gory type games.
It was pretty brutal for the time. I mean, for the 16-bit era, it was pretty it there.
Well, somehow really, I missed this. I missed a brutal, bloody game.
It was a good one. It's a good one.
Splatterhouse 2 and 3 are on the Genesis. The first one I think was mostly TurboGrafx.
The first one was on the Genesis as well.
Was it on the Genesis as well? I know they did 2 and 3, but I wasn't sure about 1.
The thing about the 3D gory games, and since we're getting, I mean, this is not a Halloween game per se, but Manhunt was kind of the first real.
That was my first one. That was awesome.
Yeah. but that's not what I would want. That's not what I can't with Luke and Cousin Born Tonight. I just can't.
He and Luke play off each other constantly.
I know. You know.
A couple of tries to Ninja Gaiden, yes, it's terrifying in my experience, yes. You know, I finally finished that stupid thing. Holy crap.
I know you did. No.
Okay, apparently you just got to slide kick the crap out of him. All right, I didn't know that. Apparently everybody agrees with me that guy kind of sucks. I've seen a couple of tactics. One time I think somebody just like they've used the TurboGrafx turbo button and just spammed the crap out of it, and eventually got hits. So that was one way of handling that guy.
All right, so maybe I am misremembering that Chuck is saying that Splatterhouse 1 was not on the Genesis, but I swear
I didn't think it was.
I thought it was. Now, I mean, don't forget too, it started in the arcade.
Yes, which is where I played it when I did play it.
No.
Because I freely admit, there's a hole in my console ownership because I went to PC in the 90s. So.
Splatterhouse does not show it came out on the Genesis. It was TurboGrafx 16, Microsoft Windows, iOS, and looks like it's got a few more listed. Looks like it's been re-released on like different markets on it, but never Genesis, which was pretty much the home of Splatterhouse for the most part. I don't think SNES ever had it.
No, I don't think
it was straight up a Genesis title.
Well, mostly because at that point, Nintendo still really didn't want those kind of games on their system. I mean, they were still
Yeah,
mean,
they
this
were
is-
still trying to be very, very family friendly and
Yeah.
avoid.
Yeah.
That was back in like the original like Mortal Kombat days where it was like blood and it was sweat instead of blood, and that kind of stuff before they loosened things up a little bit. It was pretty early.
Man, I'm missing saying hi to everybody tonight. I'm so
I'm
sorry.
just kind of
zombies in here.
Dyer is my Splatterhouse expert. This guy knows Splatterhouse.
I-
And it was
I
not on the
stand-
Genesis.
I stand corrected. I must be thinking of Splatterhouse too. Because
Yeah.
I swear I thought it, but it's very possible that I'm just. It could be that I'm thinking Splatterhouse too. I never had a Turbo.
Ooh, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. That's
so.
another good
It's
one.
okay. It's
That's
okay,
another good
everybody.
one. Yeah. Good call,
I-
Zombie.
I make a habit of finding points in the show. Any show I listen to Mike where he's wrong and pointing it out. So keep
You
going.
know what? There,
Yeah,
you'll have plenty of them tonight. I promise you.
you.
People call him on stuff constantly.
Why
Super
am I
Ghouls
here?
and Ghosts is amazing. I actually like the Genesis one too. Those are those games that I love and they hate me, and I'm like super bad at them, but I keep playing them because they're still fun. I just never get anywhere
That's
with
me
them.
in every game on my console.
Luke, I think that was a 360 one she was playing. It also might have dropped on the PS3 as well. I think it was on both platforms. I don't know if you can still get it digitally or anything on either one of those platforms to play backwards compatible. At the very least, you could probably find a disc. Last time I looked, they weren't cheap. I want to say they were somewhere between $20 and $40 for a used copy because it wasn't the most prolific title out there. It got pretty good reviews from what I recall. Some people had mixed reactions to it because they remembered the old Splatterhouse and that's what they wanted, and this was different. And not everybody took to that. So it didn't quite sell as many copies as I think they really wanted it to. But it had been so long since we'd had a Splatterhouse that I think a lot of people had forgotten about it. See, and Friday the 13th is one of those that I've got kind of coming up, and this is sort of a plug for a video I have coming out on Friday. The whole thing is, you know. So now we've heard from a couple of games from chat. We'll go ahead and start with Paul since you're the guest here. What are some of the games that you like to play around this time of year?
If it's scary, I'm down to at least try it. Like I've done a little bit of Prey. See, I consider the original. I know it's not. A lot of the stuff I'm going to name isn't necessarily retro because it's not what I've been playing lately. And it's hard for me to remember what games I played necessarily way back when because I'm old, so it happens that way. But like the Friday the 13th game, the one that's actually on the Xbox is the one that I played more recently. It's actually pretty cool.
Okay, that's a survival one, right? With with 8 campers and then Jason himself. Yeah.
Yep. I do pretty good with Jason. I kill a lot of campers, man.
Earthworm Jim is a horror game to me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. But and then I'm trying to remember what's old. See, it's hard to remember what old because I remember back in my Nintendo 64 SNES, Resident Evil was one of the first scary games that I really turn off the lights, turn up the TV, sit on the edge of your seat, and jump out of your chair when you get scared to death. That was the first game that really did that for me. Even Manhunter didn't do that. Man didn't do that for me. That was just a blood gush gore thing that was a lot of fun to play. That was but I play a lot of scary games this time of year. I do. I actually went through Game Pass and pulled all the scary games that I could play, and I've been touching on them all throughout the last month because they're fun. Like I did the original Plague's Tale last year. It's fun. I like games to scare me. I really do. Resident Evil, The Village. I played it recently. Some of and for me, and it's going to come to accessibility games, a lot of the older games I wasn't able to play because of the control schemes or whatever.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of this is I have to play the more recent incarnations of some of these games because they've changed things so that I can play, which is what the big focus has been for me. So, like, in fact, a good sample of that is what's it called? Dead Space. The original Dead Space, which I love.
That's a good one.
Yes.
They're doing a remake of that, I think, aren't they? Are they
Right,
remastering that?
They're
Yes, and
they're
go ahead.
no. You
Yeah, because they're
you and I both know
remastering-
this.
Yeah, because they're remastering it, I can now play it. I hope, because I've never been able to get past chapter 4, the asteroid belt. You know, where you have to, the asteroids are colliding. You got to shoot them before it destroys your ship. Well, in the old game, I've never been able to get past that chapter, and I want to see the rest of the game. I really, really do. So I will be playing that when it drops. You know, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. You know.
Yeah, I might try jumping into that one. I keep wanting to go back and try the Resident Evil series again, like maybe some of the remasters that they've done. The only one I ever played was Code Veronica, and I found the controls frustrating. And by the time I got to the second disc, because I really struggled with the boss at the end of the first disc on the Dreamcast version. You're in like the back of this airplane. You have to fight this big like Titan looking thing.
Yeah.
And so the first time I played through it, I had used a bunch of ammo. I wasn't really as concerned about resource management as I should have been. And so I got frustrated with it, restarted the whole game, and killed everything I could in the first half of the game with just the knife.
Yeah. Wow.
And had a ton of ammo and everything when I got there. Just laid waste to him. And then they immediately switched me over to, like, I want to say it was Chris. And I went to my storage where I had everything, and nothing was there. And I'm like,
Oh, ouch.
oh, I'm so done. I took the disc out, and I never touched Resident Evil again.
Wow.
I was done.
I always hated the save system in Resident Evil.
It's
And
awful.
that's a problem too, because you only have so many ribbons and only specific locations. And I know that's meant to keep the tension high. Like you have to think about when you're going to save. So it becomes kind of like a do I risk it kind of thing and that kind of thing. So I understand it from one perspective, but I also find it kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I just went back and played actually original Resident Evil last week because it is available on the remaster is available on Xbox, and with that save system, you'd be wandering around for 20, 30 minutes after you save it because you're trying to do something, and all of a sudden something jumps out and kills you, and you got to go back and remember what rooms you'd already been in, and okay,
Right.
where did I pick this up? Where was it's a major pain in the butt. It's hard to go back to that system with the current stuff we have after playing, it was like me when I had to go back to my my 1X after playing on my Series X for 6 months. It was painful. It was just
See, and I'll tell you why I don't necessarily have that big of a problem. One of the games I was going to bring up was Castlevania, right? Because that's the concept.
I was going to bring up Castlevania because it's got so many horror themes. It's Halloween,
and it's Dracula. It's
Yeah.
the whole Belmont family. But I'll tell you the collection that's on the Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, I'm thinking whatever. Those are the old games. I have no problem going back and playing those. Like Bloodlines, so good. So good. The original Castlevania on NES, so good. So I mean I get the difficulty, but man, I guess maybe because I do a lot of retro, it's easy to go back to those.
Yeah, Castlevania games hold up exceptionally well through the years, I feel like. The
And
gameplay stays good, the graphics for the era stays and holds, even among other like newer indie titles that are replicating that style. Even the gameplay holds up against that pretty well.
And in that vein, for the newer for the newer generations, Bloodstained.
Bloodstained's pretty great. I like Bloodstained a lot.
The first
a bunch of people have mentioned Silent Hill in particular. Now, I never got into that series. I know a lot of people like it better than they do Resident Evil. It's just not had as many entries because Konami. That's the only explanation I give it is Konami.
Well, and I was going to say, whereas you don't mind going back and playing the old style with the old saves and having to again, that comes down to some of the accessibility stuff, or just the fact that all of a sudden I'm in a fight that I can't finish.
Totally
so I have to go back and repeat everything again ad nauseum. After a while, it just becomes very frustrating to do the same 20 minutes of the game over and over again, and it's like, okay, I'm done. It's like,
No, I get that, Paul. I honestly do.
yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. So my reasons for not liking that are very personal in that sense. It's not the same as
Right.
everybody else. It's so and like I said before we went live, just because I can't play a game doesn't make it a bad game. It just means
Hey,
it's
hold
not
on.
something that I can do.
Yeah, and I
No,
totally understand that. A lot of
absolutely.
NES games were,
Yeah.
particularly the early generation of games,
Yeah.
are a struggle for anybody with disabilities to go through and play. Now, I've seen some people do it. I watched some footage of a guy beating the NES TMNT game with his chin.
Oh, ouch! Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
who is that guy? I know
He's
who you're talking
amazing,
about.
man. He's beat like Ninja Gaiden and a ton of other stuff.
Yes,
And
I-
he can only play with his chin.
It's funny
is
though
amazing.
because and Mike has been witness to this. If I talk about accessibility in games and stuff that don't have it, that's the first thing that gets thrown at me. Oh, I know a guy who can beat the game with his foot. I know a guy who can beat the game with his chin. I'm like, but I'm not that guy.
You're
We're all
right.
different.
No, I totally get that, man. I totally get the struggle with it.
Yeah.
I've seen some people who were just really super determined, and this is their hobby, and this is what they do, and they sit down. They have the time to focus on it too, and that's what they do. It's amazing to watch somebody do it. But I mean, it's kind of like me playing Demon's Souls. I can't play that game for crap, but I watched a lady teach her cat how to beat a boss.
Yeah,
and
I can't play
I'm
that
like, come on.
at all.
Like, she did that with a Dance Dance Revolution pad. I'm like, oh, that's even more insulting. I mean, come on.
Like Elden Ring, I was gifted a copy of Elden Ring from the program, and I played it. I tried for like 30 plus hours. Yeah, this game is not for me. Okay,
That's all right.
Yeah.
Look, I have full use of my hands, and that game's not for me either.
There's tons of people that the Souls games are not for, man.
But
not every game works for everybody.
My whole thing is just because you see somebody who's quote disabled and can do something like that, it's not fair to throw it in somebody else's face like mine and go, well, if they can, so can you.
No, and that wasn't the intent. The intent was
I'm not saying that was for you. I was explaining that that's the intent of the people that respond to my tweets sometimes.
Right.
And Mike has been witness to that.
I've
been called all kinds of nasty things.
Which makes no sense to me because if you guys in the chat or watching, when you guys start to follow Paul and see his stuff and see his streams, this man right here is an amazing, and I am not bullshitting because he's here. He's an amazing advocate for accessibility in gaming. And let me tell you, Microsoft, he's also an Xbox ambassador. Microsoft listens to this man. So trust me, you want him in your corner for accessibility, and he's a phenomenal advocate for it. So
okay, so the Venmo cleared. Thank you, Mike. That's good to know.
Hold on. Ding. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have put Paul's links in here a couple times now. I'm putting them up on the screen just to kind of hide on them for you guys. If you guys want to check him out, by all means, please go over and check him out. Maybe after this stream, but check him out, please. Scrambles. Good to see you, man.
Hey,
and
Scrambles.
Super Hot. Okay, when you get into the story of Super Hot, yeah, absolutely. That's kind of it's
come on.
If you get far enough in it to get the story, it is. I can see where she's going with that.
All right.
I mean,
man,
I played it a bit. I like it. It's all right, but I guess I didn't get deep enough into the story to get Halloween vibe out of it. You know,
my basic synopsis of the story is they are basically subconsciously training him by putting in these scenarios, and they've actually sent him on missions, and he's done things. So he's basically being mind controlled, which I could see being very Halloween themed.
Oh yeah, that is true. We do have to. He might be the king of accessibility, but to hell with Paul and his pineapple pizza.
Oh,
hey! I stand by pineapple pizza.
No. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay.
So you're both fired.
No.
That was easy.
Well, I guess I failed this interview. Okay, well, okay.
So
I don't
we've
want to
got a
work
couple
for
of
any
games
boss.
here.
I don't want to work for any boss that's going to bring me pineapple pizza. I know. No. That's a deal killer right there.
So what I'm playing right now, obviously with the sound off, so we don't get any kind of flag, is Costume Quest. Now, me and Paul talked about this. He didn't really get into this game because and realistically, when it boils down to it, it's a classic RPG style done around Halloween. Each one of the kids' costumes has like a different class type thing, and then they have different powers and stuff that they can use to play in the RPG combat. It's a pretty innocuous, fun, playful, Halloween focused RPG that I think is actually pretty cute and pretty fun. It's done by Digital Devolve, I want to say.
Devolver Digital.
Devolver Digital. And I think it's super cute and worth playing if at least once. If you guys haven't played it, there's two of them. They're both pretty cute. And I think they're both pretty.
I think they're cute. I love the style. I just could get
Yeah.
behind the gameplay after a while. But
And I can totally understand that because if you're not into RPGs, I could see not being into this. And even if you're into RPGs, maybe not necessarily being into this.
I have an issue. I don't have an issue. I'm not a big fan of
Look at Luke.
turn-based RPGs.
I can totally see that. I can absolutely see that.
I'm
that
not a
makes total
turn-based
sense.
guy either.
The only exception tends to be like XCOM because I love those games, and I know that the battle is turn-based stuff, and so those I like. But most anything else, I that's why I never got into a lot of the Japanese stuff like Final Fantasy because the early ones at least were turn-based, and I just couldn't get into it. You know.
I went back, Paul, and tried to play Bard's Tale when it came to Game Pass, and I had a hard time with going back to that.
Yeah, me too. Actually,
it is weird though to hear the words "cute" and Devolver Digital in the same sentence. That's typically not their MO.
I'll be honest, they did a great job on it though, man.
No, they did.
Yeah.
So
and it's one of those that I think easily gets overlooked a lot of times. Like a lot of people missed it when it first launched. And then even now when I mention it, people just look at me weird, like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, have you not heard of this game? Like, am I just that old? Don't answer that question.
But it makes you feel better. I'm the oldest one here, I believe. So
So, that was one of the ones that was one of my picks. Mike, what have you got?
Well, so you took a couple of them already. I mean, sort of.
I wouldn't say Luke, me. I'd say the chat. Actually, they've been all over it.
Luke is rolling out of the chat, but I don't know if he was completely kind of being facetious or not, but I have a soft spot for Rare games, and I even enjoy the Rare games that have been on the Xbox.
Grabbed by the Ghoulies, right?
Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I
haven't played through that one. I've heard a lot about that one. I keep meaning to play it.
You have the Rare Replay set, right?
I do. I should boot it up and play it.
And even though it's an OG Xbox game, on the Xbox One, which system do you have?
I got the Xbox One, and that's where I downloaded that one because I think it was like free with Game Pass.
Yep, they remastered it to 1080p. So it's an interesting game in that it was built before the Xbox, so it was really built for a single stick. But it's so underrated. It never got the attention it deserved because everybody thought Rare was bringing over, GoldenEye and Donkey Kong Country and all this stuff, and Grabbed by the Ghoulies just came out of nowhere, and I enjoyed it. So there you go, Luke. No, it's easily one of my favorite OG Xbox games. And you know what? Might be worth next week, since next week's an off week for us. That might be worth a Monday night retro stream for me to do Grab by the Ghoulies.
I could see that.
I might just do that.
Speaking of more retro-inspired style games, and this is off another guy's channel too, because I didn't want to record any of it. But let me add this because Fastback just mentioned this one too.
I wonder if we've got.
This is a game called Carrion. This is sort of a Metroidvania style game where you play the monster, but where you think you would be overpowered, you have to kind of think tactically about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what size you want to be, because you can change your size in this game. You can both grab biomass and drop biomass throughout the game, and each size of the monster has different capabilities. And it's done in this great 16-bit style, and with all these like really cool, like just roady kind of graphics. And you can see there he's just nested, and that allows him to basically start in that location. And it'll often open up new locations. This is a fantastic game. I've actually 100%ed this game on Steam. I had so much fun.
Wow. I started it.
And I usually don't 100% these kind of games, but this one I just had so much fun with. I could not. But this is, if you guys haven't played this game, I totally recommend trying this one out. This one is called Carrion. Carrion.
Is it Karen or Carrion?
Carrion.
I always pronounce it carry on. Yeah,
Carrion.
Yeah, that's what I. But yeah, I started it. I know Chris played this a lot, and I think Chris, remind me, did you beat this game? No.
I don't know. I know I did. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, this one, you get a bunch of cool powers in it.
Yeah.
Various different things unlock. I mean, if you keep along the path that they give you, it's pretty straightforward. If you go off to find collectibles, it's kind of easy to get lost and then try to figure out where the hell you're going back. But that's part of the fun is exploring. But I had so much fun every time I was able to grab somebody, just start swinging them around the room and bashing them into stuff before I ate them. Like, it was a lot. It's a pretty great game. I check it out. It's fun.
I played it a bit. Platformers like this are not friendly to me, but I did play it a bit. I enjoyed it. I mean, it is fun to be grabbing people and slinging them around and throwing them into stuff and getting them chopped up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Karens are scarier than this game. I think it's good horror themed game for 16-bit. Now, you're not going to get, like, the more graphical you get and the more realistic you get, the more you're going to get that kind of gore factor. You can get jump scares in anything. I tend to find sometimes the lower res stuff a little scary just because it looks more unnatural.
Yeah.
You're showing like gore in it than it does when it's hyper realistic. Maybe that's just a me thing. And Luigi's Mansion is amazing. I love Luigi's Mansion.
I think that would be a Halloween game for sure.
No, that's totally a Halloween game. Luigi's Mansion is a great Halloween game.
I would say I was going to mention Grim Fandango, even though it's not officially Halloween.
You know what? That's cool. I like that. I like that.
They do go over Day of the Dead, so the whole,
I like that as a pick.
Yeah. And I played both the original way back in the 90s and the new one they put on Xbox last year.
I need to play the new one.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, dude. If you have not seen it, it looks beautiful. And they have all three of those games they did, Grim Fandango, Full Throttle, and Day of the Tentacle. They have buttons on them so you can toggle between the old version and the new version as far as how it looks. So you can see the difference and go, holy crap.
I like that with the Monkey Island reboot that they did too. I thought that was pretty great.
Alien Isolation is an awesome game if you have not played it.
I struggled with that. I had that game glitch out of me like 3 or 4 times, and I finally just said I'm done. I literally got to one point where I saved in the wrong spot. And literally could not get through the room because of how I saved. Because I didn't realize I was in this big room, and as soon as you get to a certain section, a door opens and these people come out. And you're supposed to hide for a little bit and then dart past them and go into the room. Well, they were spread out through the whole room. And I'm like, I'm going to have to restart this game a 4th time.
No.
I don't care.
Wow.
I just don't care.
No, I know what room you're talking about, and you can't sneak around and take them out one by one, but it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I was kind of over it by that point because I'd already
Yeah.
had a door or two glitch out and not open when it was supposed to.
Oh
And
yeah.
when I looked it up, they're like, "Oh yeah, no, that's a known glitch." And I'm like, "Oh great!" So I'm finding all of them.
But that game for atmosphere, for music, and for sound, and just making you feel like you're in a enclosed area.
Oh no,
They
the
did a
atmosphere in
wonderful
that
job
game's
with that game.
phenomenal.
That
It
game
feels
was
just like you're
amazing.
playing Alien,
Yeah.
which is phenomenal. I that's why I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get in on that because it looked really cool. And I'm certain it is when it's not breaking repeatedly.
So we talked. I know you were going to touch on. I'll wait till you touch on it later with Friday the 13th. But I was also thinking games like not Dead Island and Dead Rising, not Dead Rising. Dead Rising.
Yeah, those work.
Yeah.
Back for
Yeah.
Blood.
Back for Blood.
Left 4 Dead. Those are fine. Yeah. And those are good. Like at least Left 4 Dead and Back for Blood are good. Like co-op. I feel like those are best cooperative.
I think we had a good time playing Back for Blood.
We did. I haven't played it since we played it that one time. I was going to go back and play it solo. And at the time, they had
hang on, I'm confused because it's either Left 4 Dead or Back for Blood.
Back for Blood is the one we played together.
Okay.
I mean, Back for Blood is basically Left 4 Dead.
They're the same game.
It's the same thing.
Same game. It just copyright strikes you for the jukebox.
Yes, it does. You know, I could see Medieval. I can absolutely see Medieval.
I could see that.
And since we had people mentioning Monster Party, I'm going to play a little bit of Monster Party for people to check out here.
I got one. This is the point where Mike gets up and gets a game from his collection because he's not Papa Pete and can just reach back.
There you go.
This always looks like a cute game to me, Monster Party. There's lots of like different powers and things you can change into and everything like that.
You mentioned Dead Rising. I have a love-hate issue with Dead Rising because I don't know if y'all remember when it first came out. The text on the screen was so small. It was supposed to, it's supposed to be that it couldn't be read. And when people like me and many others requested, hey, can you make the text bigger or make it so we can adjust the size of the text? And the developer or whoever it was actually came out and said, no, we're not going to change a thing. So at that point, I actually was like, you know what? I don't need to be that involved in this game or this company.
I can see that. I don't know why Capcom would do that. That's kind of weird for them.
But the text, if you go back and look at the original stuff, the text was so tiny, and it seemed like the bigger the screen got, the smaller the text got. It really does seem. It's like really.
Yeah, that would be incredibly frustrating. I don't remember much with the text, to be honest with you. I played the first Dead Rising a decent amount. I never managed to really beat it.
Well, the problem is the text would tell you what you need to do or whatever.
Right, it would tell you where you needed to go or what your next objective was. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I skipped 2 because I didn't have too much fun with 1. I played it. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite game. And then I went back and I tried 3 because I had that on the Xbox One. And I got super annoyed with him because at one point it just, like, it would become nightfall and there were so many zombies that I just could not get anywhere at all. Like, you just couldn't get anywhere. And I'm like, great. So what am I supposed to do here? Because I got stuck in a spot where I didn't have a car. I didn't have any kind of vehicle. I couldn't run on top of people's heads because I didn't have that ability yet.
4 was the best in the series for me.
Yeah,
I
struggled with that series. I wanted to love it because it had a lot of elements I didn't love, but I struggled to really love it.
Oh, so in honor of a couple of these like kind of oddball games, I thought I'd bring a couple over from my collection.
Okay.
Mr. Bones.
Ah, yes.
I have not heard of Mr. Bones. That looks neat.
Really? So this is a game created by Ed Annunziata, who created Echo the Dolphin. So this was one of his games. The really neat game. I actually streamed this one night. I'll send you the link to the stream so you could check it out. It's a really neat game. And then, of course, in that vein of the light gun games that really didn't have a light gun, Corpse Killer, which of course
Now,
was,
Corpse Killer I've heard of. I never
Yeah.
messed with it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
remember that guy?
That was on a few systems. Wasn't that on a
It was on
32X
Sega
as
CD,
well?
32X,
the Sega
Saturn.
CD 32X and then Saturn? Yeah.
Yep. And then from the Dreamcast collection, because it was mentioned in the chat, Typing of the Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Para that mentioned that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do also have House of the Dead 2, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, some of those, they did a couple House of the Dead games on the Wii, and I thought those came out particularly well because they were basically light gun shooters, and I thought that was pretty
Yes.
fantastic.
And they really do. Somebody needs to really break out a light gun for HD TVs, because
There's an
The
Indiegogo
technology
that's
there,
bringing one of them
it's
out.
expensive. Yeah, the
It's
technology.
really
Yeah.
expensive, and they have a pedal for it too, but that's even more expensive.
because I mean
'cause-
they do it in the arcade. They have them in the arcade.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're not cheap. They exist. They're not cheap.
yeah.
And of course, Cole was also on 3DO.
Yes, it
DJC
was.
reminds me, and it
Yeah.
was. I had forgotten about that.
So this was a scary game, Carrier.
I saw that one and I never picked it up because I was not big on horror games as a rule.
And then there was
so
another
I
one
never
that,
played that one.
and then the last one, since it is Evil Dead, Hail to the King.
Oh, there
I
you
can
go.
see that. Evil Dead's always a welcome
Hail to the
thing.
king,
Yeah.
baby.
Hail to
That's
the King,
right.
baby.
Twisted Metal Black, I could see that. Twisted Metal in general has a lot of Halloween vibes to it with some.
Oh, yeah.
intro.
Yeah.
Vampire the Masquerade would not to me.
Vampire, right?
Oh God, Legacy of Kain 2, Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver. Oh, I should have pulled that off the shelf too. Soul Reaver was a good one. Not
Soul
so
Reaver's
much.
one of those.
I don't know if it was so much a scary game. It was just kind of a.
It's got that sort of it's got that vampire vibe, and you got all those different types of evolved vampires and stuff. I think it fits within the sphere of Halloween. I feel like
Yeah.
not necessarily like horror, but Halloween. I could see it fitting. Limbo, that's another good pick, actually.
Limbo, yep.
Little Nightmares, that's another one. And then somebody else had mentioned, and a few people have mentioned this one, so I'll pull this one up too. This is Pumpkin Jack, that a few people have mentioned is an indie
yeah.
game. And I've
Forgot
seen this
about
one a couple of
Pumpkin Jack.
times, and it looks pretty dang fun. I've just never picked it up for
does.
one reason or another. But I've had my eye on this one for a while too, because it looked really neat. It's got a cool aesthetic that I think will age well, because it doesn't have to look like super graphically up to date. It's just got its own style, and I like that. I like it when games do this kind of thing rather than trying to be hyper realistic, because hyper realistic will eventually look dated. But if you go with an interesting art style, many times that will just age with it. Kind of like Wind Waker still holds up as an aesthetic because of the art style they picked, right? And I feel like this kind of does the same thing. And actually, I just mentioned Little Nightmares. That's another one that's pretty cool. That I think those two are really, really neat.
Yep.
Folklore. I don't think I played Folklore. I don't think I've heard of Folklore. Maximo, that's right. That was it was like a spiritual successor to Ghosts and Goblins. It had Arthur in it and pretty much everything. It basically was Ghosts and Goblins, just done on the was it PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 for that one?
For which one?
Maximo. It was a Ghosts and Goblins type game, or basically a successor to Ghosts and Goblins.
Maximo Ghosts of Glory. Because there was two of them. Maximo Ghosts of Glory and Maximo versus Army of Sin. So
Okay.
Ghost of Glory, the first one, Came out on PS2.
Looks like it's PS2.
No. Oh, look who did the music for that.
Who did do the
and-
music for that?
Um,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So that came out for PlayStation 2, and then the other one, the sequel came out for. So they were both PlayStation 2 games. That one and Army of Zin.
Gotcha. And somebody mentioned Condemn. I never got into the Condemn series. But I know a
Oh
lot of people love
wow!
that series.
Not
This
the
is
game
awesome.
love.
Yeah.
You know what? My copy of Condemned's upstairs with my Xbox 360 collection. What a friggin' game that! See,
Yeah.
that was Sega at the end of Sega being Sega before their downward.
Well, I was honestly hoping, and not to derail us too much, I was honestly hoping when they released Virtual Fighter 5 that was going to kind of signal them to at least start getting back into that development of that series and maybe come back to some of the other stuff that they did around that time, with like Daytona and a bunch of their other stuff, and kind of start doing their thing again. But it seems to kind of been a one-hit wonder. And Dr. Gamble had mentioned a lot of the Fear games.
Yeah, Fear was good.
A couple of people mentioned Fear.
Fear was very good.
Yep.
I'm not sure how Bully fits into Halloween. Oh, there's a Halloween level. Okay, I never played through Bully. So
Yeah, it's
I
a level, but I would never consider playing it around Halloween just because of that level. It doesn't scare me, you know. It's
Right.
Well, I mean, again, I don't necessarily look at it as like that you have to get scared for it.
No,
It just
but-
kind of
but
has to
it-
fit
it-
a certain
but it's got-
vibe, right?
It's got one level of a much larger game, so I mean, you know.
Right. It doesn't have enough levels
Yeah.
and enough going on there. I was kind of looking through my list on here.
You know,
to
the
see what I
NES
had.
also had a game called Ghoul School.
Really, Ghoul School. It seems like I've heard of that game before. Seems like somebody played it.
It was actually
It might be like Zombie or somebody like that who played it, because I'm around so many people that stream so many amazing games and they're so good at it that I often feel like I just suck at everything, which is probably not too far off from the truth.
I saw somebody I saw somebody mention Little Hope in your little flashing of going through messages. All of those games from the Dark Anthology series, including the one that's coming out next, all would fit into Halloween. The three that I played are amazing. And of course not the Abyss, the other game with Raimi in it. Crap. That story driven game came out last month that I still haven't played. That everybody was streaming for a while. The Quarry is the same style.
Yeah, somebody mentioned The Quarry.
And if you've never played that
I
style
think
of
Game will
game,
put that in there.
they're amazing. They are really incredibly well done. Because your choices affect what happens in the game. And in the case of the Dark Anthology series, you can play with one other person online, or I think 4 other people in the same room. So yeah, those are all games I've also played, and I have them sitting on my hard drive right now, and I may play them before Halloween, or some of them.
What is
And
this?
they're all about 8 hours long or so, give or take.
Jim, what is this? What have you got me pulling up here? What the heck?
Wow.
What is that?
What
This is
in the-
Zombie Nation on NES.
That's
It's a game.
whose head is that?
It's
I
a
have
thing.
no
Yeah,
idea.
it's a thing. Yeah, so,
It
wow.
exists and it's a game.
It's a shmup. It's a Halloween
Yeah.
shmup.
Yeah, it's sort of a Halloween shmup. And
You
now,
know-
and now Jim's just laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Because
Taters,
yeah,
good to see you, man.
Hey, Taters. He's going. Jim's going. I got
That-
Nick to
that-
pull this up.
that looks like the fat guy from Jake and the Fat Man. It just
He almost does.
Yeah.
So
Okay, apparently this is going to get a physical re-release on the Switch.
Oh. Wow.
Dark Watch on PS2. This one's just weird to me.
this is weird. This is wow. No,
that was a thing.
I know that another one that's not necessarily retro, and I just thought about this because I have this on VR I have the demo of a VR version of this game, Until Dawn.
Oh yes.
And Until Dawn's as good as that one was, the VR game was really cool because it's a shooter while you're in a roller coaster going through a haunted whatever. I mean, it is sweet.
I'm sorry, I was just laughing
Peter!
at Greg's comment.
Like the market isn't already saturated with distant body change.
Apparently, that game's really, really highly regarded, and it's pretty freaking expensive. So, you know,
Oh yeah.
it might
Rush
be
of
it
Blood.
might be amazing when you're playing it. It just looks bizarre. Nobody getting candy in that game. Now that honestly, the fact that they were destroying buildings brought up another game to me that isn't Halloween but has a lot of Halloween creatures in it. Rampage.
Yeah. Because Rampage basically has Godzilla, King Kong, and
And like
the
a
Wolfman.
gigantic wolfman,
Gigantic
or
Yeah.
the wolfman in this case, terrorizing a town.
Yep.
So it's like a monster beat 'em up kind of game.
I have that as part of one of my collections on my Series X, and I've gone back and played it a little bit.
Yeah, it's just a fun game. It's kind of like how Mike will often view like playing Astro Smash. It's just kind of like a cathartic game, right?
Right.
You go in, you just kind of beat on the buildings, you drop things, you like eat a bunch of people and stuff, and then you move on like to the next thing.
Oh,
Now Rampage
fact.
is a dating sim.
That is outstanding, Wolf.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love that.
Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. That was yes. Dude, that was
And
one
see,
of the
Ghostbusters, both the Genesis version and the
And the
360
Xbox.
version, I think are great around this time of
I
year.
totally agree.
Those are
Yeah,
fantastic games.
If you have played the remastered one on the One and the One X?
I played it on PC actually, and I've got it.
It holds
really
up well.
good.
It holds
really
up well.
good.
I didn't get the remaster because the 360 version is also back compat. So
Right.
I didn't.
I
think it
didn't
was
have
going
the.
to be
I didn't
that
have
big.
the. I have none of my 360 discs, and I used to have hundreds of them. So
Yeah,
I
if you
have
don't, agreed. If you don't have it already, it's a good buy
Yeah.
for the remaster.
yeah,
I have
really
not played the new multiplayer Ghostbusters. I didn't even know that was out yet.
It actually officially comes out this week, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be one that might be fun to play because doesn't one person play Ghost and 4 people play Ghostbusters?
I'm not sure.
Sounds like the reverse Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's another one of those asymmetrical games, right? It's like Dead by Daylight, which is like a monster hunting the players kind of thing, and the Jason one, and the
Friday the 13th one.
Right. And then you've also got the Evil Dead one that came out, and the Predator one, and those all started with Evolve and then moved on from there.
Yeah,
I have played.
Everybody moved on from Evolve.
Yeah, Evolve microtransactions itself into like oblivion is what it did.
You know what? Nobody's brought up in the chat yet.
The Thing, that's interesting. I'd forgotten they did a game for that, but they did.
Yeah, they did on the 360.
That's a spooky ass movie too.
People,
body horror. Oh my god.
Well,
people brought up Silent Hill, but I didn't see anybody bring up Fatal Frame.
I forgot about that.
Honestly, if Retro Complex had been here, he would have brought that up. Matter of fact, he's got a few videos on Fatal Frame, and they're all quite good. Yeah, Fatal Frame is a neat idea for a game. I never played it, but the idea seems super cool to me because and it's kind of an interesting dichotomy because you're both empowered and more vulnerable when you're using the camera. Because the camera is how you fight, but it also narrows your peripheral vision to where you effectively have tunnel vision. Right. It makes you far more vulnerable while you're trying to use the camera to be able to deal with like the various different poltergeists and spirits and stuff.
Yeah, kind of like Alan Wake.
Hey, Hazoff. I tried a couple times to get into Alan Wake, and I had a hard time.
I did too. I played a little bit more recently. Was able to get farther into it, but at first I didn't like the mechanics of it. I was like, okay, this is annoying.
It's because it's more of a story-based game than an action game. I
No.
was with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It took a little while to get into.
I love story-based games if they're done well. I mean, it's my problem was actually, again, it probably comes down to the older controls on the original Alan Wake, where I just couldn't do the twin stick moving and shooting and running, and yeah, I just can't do that kind of stuff. You know, I go from here, do this part of the game here, just do the whole game. It's like,
I think I just struggled to get into it from a story perspective and from a gameplay perspective. This is Dead Nation, by the way.
Oh, look at that.
Well, Pack had mentioned this one a couple times, and this is one that I think screams for like co-op. It's a kind of isometric shoot 'em
this is
up.
like the Ascent.
I was going to say
think you
this
can
looks
get
like
a
the
couple
Ascent.
people playing this at one time. I think.
This looks a lot like the Ascent. I would play this.
Yes, I'd play the shit out of this. This
And Doki Doki Literature Club has also been mentioned a couple times.
Yeah.
That one takes a while to ramp up, but that's definitely kind of a horror game for sure.
You know what else I would put in, and this is a newer game. This is in the last, I think, 2 years, at least since the Xbox Series X and PS5 launched. The Medium.
I love
from
The
Bloober
Medium.
Game.
You take
A
it
lot
off
of
Game
people didn't
Love?
like
If
it.
so, it was great seeing you, by the way.
Great seeing you, Dr. Game Love. Don't be a stranger, brother.
Absolutely, man.
I love The Medium. I actually streamed most of it because my mother was watching me play, and she was like, "Don't stream it again until I can watch you." But a lot of people didn't like it because it's a slower game. But it's very much story driven, and you have to kind of work your way through it.
But neat.
Yep.
I'm cool with story-driven games, and Medium was one of those that I wanted to sit down and play, and just, again, I haven't gotten to it. There's a whole litany of things, because I end up going back and bashing my head against like old NES games that I really wanted to beat when I was a kid, and now I'm sitting down trying to like finally beat them, much to frustration and gnashing of teeth many times. But it's kind of been a gold mine to beat some of those. Like I finally beat Castlevania 1, which was on my list of ones to beat. I finally beat Ninja Gaiden, which is on my list of ones to beat. Mike Tyson Punch-Out is kind of on there, but I'm kind of struggle busting on that one a little bit. And not hardcore focusing on it because I picked up a couple of other games that I want to play too, that I want to finish.
So in 40 years, Nick is going to be in the old folks' home. Okay, I finally beat Pac-Man. Mother. Now I can move on. Yeah.
Ghostbusters came on the Commodore 64. You know what? A couple people have mentioned the 64 version. I had played the NES version. I never played the Commodore version, but I heard really good things about that one.
I had the Atari computer version, which was very much like the C64 version.
Yep, the 64 version was awesome. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Later, Hasselhoff.
Have a good night, brother Hasselhoff.
See you later.
I don't think I heard of Geist for the GameCube. And Eternal Darkness has not been mentioned yet, but I remember hearing good things about that one as well. Call of Cthulhu. I think I've heard of that one actually.
It's an older, kind of an older title.
Call of Cthulhu. There's an older title, definitely.
Yeah.
See, you got Peter's attention with that one. That one has off.
Well, he was big on the Commodore 64, if I recall, right?
Yep.
That was one of his first early consoles. Well,
that's what I had.
Whatever you want to call it.
I went from the Atari 2600 to the Commodore 64 for ownership. So.
Yeah, see, I went from the Intellivision to the Atari 800.
You'll get the best of Sesame Street, ABC, and Fisher Price. I can remember, Nick. Don't beat yourself up over it. But they're so hard!
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking up games, and a lot of people mentioned Bloodborne, and I can totally see that. Most of the Souls games, I think, fit in that, except for maybe Sekiro, and even Sekiro has its moments where it fits there. They all have a lot of body horror and graphical stuff and dark stories, so they all fit in there. I'm certain. Dante's Inferno definitely fits in there.
Oh gosh, yes.
Praise another one.
You know what else has not been mentioned? Diablo.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's mentioned Diablo, but yeah, pretty much all the Diablos.
I have played a crap load of Diablo 3 relatively recently after the new season started. I mean, seriously. I'm waiting for Diablo
I
4.
put literal years into Diablo 3 and Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Diablo 1 I put a couple years into, but I dropped it pretty quick after Diablo 2 came out. Because Diablo 2 was such a big upgrade from the original Diablo. Like,
Yep,
it wasn't
it
even
is.
funny.
I had the Rise of the Necromancer pack for Diablo 3.
Ah.
That was because I had
Oh,
gotten
the Diablo 2 ladder just now reset? I haven't dug into the ladder.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I got the Rise
Later,
of the
Dyer.
Necromancer one,
Hi,
and
Dyer.
Necromancer is so OP in Diablo 3, it's not even funny.
I know.
It's awesome though. It's awesome though.
The Bone Spear build is pretty ridiculous. One of my favorite builds
Yeah.
is the Thorns Crusader. I had a ton of fun with that. And the Tempest Rush Monk is straight up broken, or at least it was last time I touched it. That one's ridiculous. Diablo 2 to death. Yeah. Honestly, 3 took a long time. It took it till it got a console release for them to finally straighten out their act with Diablo 3. When Diablo 3 launched,
When it hit the Xbox,
it was
really
a train wreck.
And
that's putting it kindly. It was a real money train wreck. And I still played the crap out of it. But it was very hard to get anywhere with. The difficulty was way up there. Mostly because you had to spend a lot of real money to get anywhere. And even then, it was
on
a
the
struggle.
console now, I can max it level on a character in Diablo 3 probably in about 3 days, if that.
Yeah, well, once they put it on console, they reorganized the whole loot system, even on PC.
Yeah.
It took them like a couple weeks after the console launch, and then that game just went from like to like, holy crap, this is what this should have been at launch.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And it became an amazing game. But it took them a long time.
Yeah.
Paint the walls red. Eugene, good to see you, man. I saw you pop in. I was waiting till I could click it up there. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Did we vote Mr. Matthews off the island?
Losing items when you die. Diablo 2 didn't do that as much because they were on your body. Now you had to go back to your body to pick them up, and that part sucked, yes. But it was not nearly as bad as Diablo 1. When you died, everything exploded off of your body.
Oh, right.
And you had to go back and loot it all back, and it was the worst.
I'm eating
Mr.
food
Matthews
right now.
Off the island. He was trying to finish up some stuff, and he has a broken camera, and it may just get to the point that I'm going to send the man a camera.
And he said, and said, I'm tired of being on with Mike.
Yeah, he was tired of Mike's crap too.
He was tired of Mike's crap. Everybody's tired of Mike's crap.
Yeah, and I tried to vote Mike off the island, but he had already jumped off the island and started swimming. I mean, it was going to be 2-1.
I'm like the cat. You know, I'm like what's his name? I'm like Bob from What About Bob? You leave me off in the desert, you know, tied to a tree with an explosive, and somehow I end up back here on RetroRoots.
So I'm posting Cerebral Paul's links again here for those of you guys that haven't checked him out yet, or for those of you guys that popped in a little bit late. He is our guest tonight, taking stage with where Mr. Matthews would normally be on this evening. And he has been an absolute blast to have on here tonight. If you guys haven't, I recommend you check him out. He does a lot of stuff to pioneer accessibility in video games, does a ton of streaming. He's a fun guy to hang out with.
Makes me feel real old. He's a pioneer. His Atari 2600 was made out of pine. He built it himself.
He made his own Atari 2600 out of sticks.
Right. His instruction manuals were made of parchment.
That's right. Oh God, we did forget Hollow Knight. Yeah, you're right.
We did. And they also brought up Outlast, which I was going to bring up.
There was a Nightmare Before Christmas game. How the hell did I miss that? I love that movie.
There were a couple of those, and if you were a handheld guy, if you had a Game Boy Color, there was a Simpsons Treehouse of Terror game.
I vaguely remember that. Yes, I vaguely.
Well, I'm one of those filthy people who emulate, so I might just have to grab some of these. I would be ashamed of it, but I'm really not ashamed of it. particularly when Konami does crappy stuff, like give me a version of the Castlevania collection that I can't exit out of on my Steam Deck because they don't have an exit when it goes full screen on PC.
Wow.
Like you can't close out of it. You have to go to the Steam menu and kill the application. So
No,
I'm
you
like,
just
okay,
have to
I
finish
bought
the
this,
game.
but
You
I'm
have
going to
one
emulate
sitting to
all
finish
of
the game.
these.
It's easy. One sitting to finish the game.
Yeah, we'll just finish an entire Castlevania Metroidvania style game in one sitting. That won't take me 40 hours or anything. Kept dying in Diablo 2 thinking, what is this, Dark Souls? Hey, you're supposed to join where all games are Dark Souls.
And all Dark Souls games came from Ninja Gaiden. The Xbox.
Oh, apparently the Nightmare Before Christmas game was not good. I think Guitar Hero 3 fits Halloween.
Parasite
Parasite
Eve.
Eve.
I
can kind of see that. Yeah. I could totally see that. However, we might want to wrap this up a little bit. It's closing in on midnight Mike's time. He becomes a pumpkin. Nosferatu SNES. I think I've seen some playthrough on that. That looked really good, actually.
Kid Dracula.
Kid Dracula, yeah.
Which is on the Castlevania collection for modern consoles.
And it's another one of those that once you get into it, you can't exit out of it because it goes full screen because, screw Konami. No, it's a different Castlevania collection for that one. That one might actually allow you to exit. The one I had was the GBA one where it had like the Circle Moon and a couple of others on it. Like
that was not this latest collection.
Yeah. The Kid Dracula was in the previous one, I want to say.
Ooh, it is almost midnight, which for me means
Plague's
Tale and turning into Willard and controlling the rats. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Well, no, just real quick. Everybody in this chat is like retro. You better know who Willard was, and if you don't, go watch an old movie. Okay, I'm just don't watch the remake. Watch the original from the 70s. Yeah.
So, Paul, what do you got going on your channel this week?
So let's see what today's Monday. So I would have streamed on Mondays. Like I said earlier, I stream on the Xbox Ambassador channel, Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul. They are a Twitch channel. On Tuesdays, I have two. I have Retro Renegades with that rambunctious little crowd. And I also have Gaming After Dark with Nuke Nukem, the not ready for primetime, not for kids show that I do. On Wednesdays, I have nothing right now because midweek gaming is no more, sadly. Thursdays, I have 4GQ TV with that lovely crowd where we not only talk games, but a lot of times we'll talk comics, movies, and other such things. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I have whatever I do. So there you go. And of course, I have been trying to stream more and more on my own personal channels, Cerebral Paul, on both YouTube and Twitch. And that's about it, I think. And did I say Twitter, Cerebral Paul 1 is where you can find me. There you go.
Yeah, I've linked both of those a couple of times. I'm going to drop them again before we
I know.
It's just,
I get so many things to rattle off of what I do that,
Oh, no, dude. By all means, like I said, promote whatever you're doing. That was part of it. And like I said, I've been linking your channel and your Twitter out a couple of times.
Yep.
Mike, what you got going on?
Oh, let's see. Tomorrow night, 9:30, we are back at it again. NLG show. We've got Back from the Dead with us tomorrow. We're gonna. There's a lot going on with the whole frames per second debate that's popped back up thanks to...
We were talking about a little bit before you popped in.
But I'm glad we didn't have to talk about it tonight because,
there's a lot of context around
I have a different view.
For and against.
Yeah, I seem to have a way different view than most everybody else out there. So
so I think we're going to cover that. We're going to cover the latest. My God, this thing with Activision Blizzard just won't end.
I feel that way about several things.
Yeah. So, and those of you who might be interested in the thing, I've got some information that I'm going to give based upon things I'm allowed to say about said thing. So I'll give a little update on testing and some of the things that I've come across that I've said, hey guys, can I talk about this? Because this is kind of important. And they're like, does it work? I'm like, yes, it works.
Mhm.
And I said, all right, so you can mention it. So a little information on the Amico, but mostly it's going to be a lot of frame rate talk and Activision Blizzard. And I want to get Peter's take on scoring because I think he beat it. And I'm hoping by the time the show starts, I will have gotten a bit of Plague's Tale in too, because that is a game that I really like. Plague. I was late to the party with the original Plague's
I've been
Tale.
on the fence with that one. I saw it and I kind of wanted to play it, and it kind of looked like a game I might not enjoy.
It is give it a try. All right. I can't say, oh, if you'll get hooked up, but I got hooked on it.
And let me say one more thing. If you do try it, headphones, and if you have Atmos, use that shit.
Okay?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, so hopefully get some into that. So tomorrow's going to be a pretty action-packed show. The rest of the week, we'll see what kind of streaming I do. I really do want to get back to, I've got a ton of Atari VCS game footage. And honestly, I was playing Yars Recharged again tonight. Actually, while I was talking with you on the phone earlier, Nick. And
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
man, the Atari VCS came out of nowhere for me as far as getting it. And I've been happy with it. So I really
I'll
want to
be honest, if I could find one of those, like we were talking about, like right around $200, I think is my sweet spot for that
worth
thing.
$200. It really is. And so I want to try to get back to getting some editing done and getting some videos out there, because I just feel like I feel like I keep promising people videos and I'm not getting them out because life just keeps getting in the way. So that's really where I'm headed, and then more testing of the Amigos. So that's my week.
Well, mine has been pretty much just doing like a lot of edited content lately. So I've been working through on my game history channel, which I'm gonna go. I think most everybody has it. I'm gonna link it in here anyway for you guys that don't have it. That's my Geek Historian channel. That's where I've been putting a lot of my effort in lately, and I've been doing a lot of uploaded content. This month has been kind of slow because I've been doing big videos each week, and they eat up a lot of my time. So usually I can pump out like maybe one of those a week, and that's kind of what I've been doing, because I've been trying to go through the month and do like different horror icons and like movies and what games that they were in. So I started with like Pinhead, then I went to Michael Myers. This week is going to be Jason Voorhees, and then I'm going to wrap up with Freddy Krueger. So I'm working on the Freddy Krueger script as I work on editing up the Jason video. So when I get burned out on editing, or like at work and I have a few minutes and I'm not in front of my computer where I can do anything here, I'll try to write something up. I'm not busy with work. That way I can kind of keep on top of things and kind of keep the train rolling on those. The Jason one's going to be pretty long. I thought the Voorhees one, I thought the Myers one was long. Jason one's longer. It's probably going to be the longest one, quite frankly. He was in a lot of games. But that's where a lot of mine's been going. I've been meaning to get back into streaming. I've been debating on when I'm going to do that. Every time I start to ramp up on it, like something happens, and then I just kind of like walk away from it for a while. So I'm going to endeavor to, if I can, maybe do that tomorrow. It depends on what kind of time I have tomorrow. I'm usually in the office, and so it may be that I have to move that stream a little bit later. I was starting at 5:30 and running to 7:30, and I might have to run it start around 6 or 6:30, and maybe cut in a lot of, because I normally try to cut out before 7:30 because I like watching NLG, but I might just have to kind of like push things a little bit just to be able to do a stream.
Don't worry about it.
Because Wednesday's not a good day either, because I'm usually on Amico Forever that day, so that
never. And just so I want to make sure I say this: never worry about
I know.
you're
I like supporting the stream, and it gives me time to sit down and hang out with my wife.
I know you do, but
So-
never.
So those two things jive. That's why I do it that way.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm just saying, never feel like, oh man, I can't start later because NLGs. Don't ever think that. You do what you do.
Yeah, I know.
And
I just try to make sure that I spread some support around NLG's show.
Yeah.
I generally pop on regularly, and there's been more and more of them. I've been trying to catch various different people and support them as I can. People ask me how many streams I'm in all the time, and I'm usually like at least 3.
I do that too.
Timmy does that. You'll notice that Timmy
Yes.
does that all the time.
Yes, he
He's
does.
like-
Because I
I'm
Well,
not always
it's-
paying attention, but I'm there and piping in, at least saying hi and trying to be supportive.
It
Yeah.
is funny. I see people chatting in NLG's chat, and then I go in. I hit up Gaming After Dark because they're on half hour after we start, and I'm in there and I'm like, wait a minute, he just said something over here, and now he's saying something over here. So we got people that watch both shows.
I do the same thing, And what's funny is I'll be on Gaming After Dark or whatever show, and I'll be in Mike's chat. I may say hello
Yeah.
or something, but I'm not listening to anything. I don't know what he says. I don't know.
I've done that sometimes. I've been known
Yeah.
to pop into
That's okay.
Eugene's
That's okay,
stream.
Paul. Sometimes that might not be the worst thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like I listen to you anyway. So
Right.
By the way, most of the people that hang out here have their own channels, and they're all really amazing channels
Yes.
and amazing people. So,
Yeah, they really
Paul,
are.
if you haven't, you might want to check out some of these guys. Eugene runs a great channel. Wolfpack runs a good channel. Jim used to stream a ton. I miss Jim streaming. I had a
I'll
lot
tell you
of
what,
fun
people in
watching
the
Jim
chat,
streaming.
if you want me to follow your channel, the easiest way is to go to one of my channels and give me a message, or go to my Twitter, CerebralPaul1, and message and put it in right there on the front of my front screen. That way I can grab the link and throw it in my collection.
Yeah.
So,
But there's
Yeah.
so many people that come in here that have awesome channels, and
They
the fact
really
they come
are.
out here and hang out is phenomenal.
This
Eh,
could be one of my favorite. This could be one of my favorite chat rooms.
Yep.
Outside of our own.
Yeah.
and blatant plug, because I know it comes in handy, because I think some of these people have sent people my way. If you have questions about accessibility or know somebody who does, you can send them my way and I can point them to
Absolutely.
the right direction.
Yes.
Paul's a great person to hit up on that. If you know anybody that struggles with finding a way to make a game accessible, or who to talk to, or how to set things up, he's definitely your guy for sure.
So,
But
yep, there you go.
But I think we're probably going to call it here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You guys kind of always overwhelm me with the fact that you keep coming in every other week, even though that's about the only thing I'm doing on this channel right now. And you always come in and you support, and I think that's awesome.
We all
And
love
thank you
Nick.
so much for coming in and hanging out on the channel.
We all
It's
love you,
been
Nick. You know
it's
that.
absolute blast. I know,
Paul,
and
not
we
so
sometimes
much,
love
but
you
you,
too.
Nick.
Mark.
I was
It's
trying
okay.
to
It's the
get.
same thing. It's the same thing my parents say. It's the same thing my parents say. We love your sisters. We tolerate you.
Right. That's right. One of us is playing an Amico right now.
That's right.
You could be. Yes, you could be.
I'm now, just because of that, Mike, I'm gonna go leave some nasty comments on your video. Okay.
Well, once again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Until next time, happy gaming.
Play on, gamers.
Bye.